What a game that we just watched. Guys, I kind of called it. I knew the All Blacks would come out hard in this game, but man, that was a try fest. Outstanding by the All Blacks in the sense of just the scoreboard and the points that they put onto this game. It was thoroughly entertaining to watch. I mean, outstanding performances, 3 tries by Aaron Smith. I think Jordan's got 2. I mean, just about everyone scored a try in this game. But guys, let's start from the start. It wasn't long in this game, and you see a cross kick. I think it was Jordie Barrett who kicks it right into Jordan's hands. He still had a lot of work to do with the cover defense. He does this amazing jump through the air and puts the ball out in the corner, scores it, and then gets tackled out. First points on the board. The game was still close, but already you could see very early the All Blacks showing intent to want to score tries. What worried me a little bit from All Black perspective at the start of the game is they weren't clearing the balls out of their 22. I've seen this before from the All Blacks, and I think it is something that they have to be very careful of. I mean, the rolling maul, it looked okay from the All Blacks, but it was struggling at points. Later on, a little bit better. But that first rolling maul, we see Aaron Smith getting that try from the rolling maul. Not long after that, you see Savia make a break, gets the ball out to Talia. Talia was outstanding in this game, and Savia. Talia just got a way to find the line, scores that try, but man, how good was Savia? Where he had a little bit of space, he was just running this team to shreds. Again, I think Savia, to me, looking like the best number 8 in the world. He's just so good, and you can't give that guy any space, and playing such a good captain's role on the field, leading by example. I mean, that try he scored when he came around the line out and just carved through Italy. Beautiful try. I just love that guy with the ball in hand. I mean, the meters that he makes every single time he runs with the ball. Look, I mean, I got to be honest, Italy was really, really poor in their defense. They weren't challenging the breakdowns all that much. Maybe a little bit in the first half, but the second half, pretty much no challenges at the breakdowns. They missed a lot of tackles. It wasn't the best performance. It wasn't really like the All Blacks was coming up against an Italian team that was giving them a lot of hardships. I mean, Aaron Smith then scoring a hat-trick in that first half. He was just at the right place at the right time every time, getting those tries, and you know what a quality player he is. I've got to say, the All Blacks' defense was very good, especially at first half. I mean, they didn't let anything get through. They were very patient on the defense. They pushed a bit up in the middle, a little bit of a rush defense, but not too much. Just keeping their lines, and the Italians throwing the ball around, but not really breaking that line in that first half at all with the All Blacks. And I mean, going into halftime, you got to say, outstanding from a guy like Frizell. You could see when Frizell came back into this team, there was turnovers at the breakdowns. I mean, Jackling, Cody Taylor had a phenomenal game. Was over the balls for Jackling, and even Jordie Barrett, on those loose balls, turning balls around. It looked good from that perspective, from an All Black point of view, that they were going in for those jackals, competing at the breakdowns to turn the ball over. With that said, not really that competitive from Italy at the breakdown. The rolling maul from the All Blacks when they got the ball, I'm not talking on defense. The defense is very good on the rolling maul. Really, really good defense at the moment on the rolling maul. But their attack on the rolling maul still seemed to struggle. This was Italy, and they really couldn't always get that rolling maul going. So maybe something to look at. Nothing serious, guys. Then the second half comes in. I don't know what the coach said to the Italians, but they came out second half really hard, held onto some ball. And suddenly the All Blacks starting to concede some penalties, and they're going to have to look at that penalty count and look out of, a bit more of a critical perspective, because we know it's against Italy, but they were still conceding a lot of penalties in that second half, not rolling away, all kinds of stuff. And, Italy just could not really convert any of those points and those opportunities that they got. The All Blacks, again, I felt second half, trying to always play out of their 22, not kicking out, I feel, enough. And eventually we see the Italians getting to the game where Capuzzo goes through for a corner try. Again, outstanding the way he kept himself, in that corner, in the game, to score that try. And, the Italians showing some intent to get back into the game. That try really was actually made by Monty Ioane beating Rico Ioane from New Zealand. So Monty Ioane from Italy beating Rico Ioane from New Zealand. Rico Ioane had a bit of a quiet game. He was okay on his defense, but his attack, he couldn't really break the lines all that much. I felt he was a bit quiet. On the other side, Monty Ioane, probably the most outstanding player in that Italian side. You saw him all over the field. He was working so hard and had an outstanding game for Italy, I've got to say. And of course, the other guy who had an outstanding game, always has for Italy, is their kicker, Tommaso Allen. I mean, this guy has not missed one kick in this whole World Cup. You can put that ball anywhere on the field, and this guy shows you what it is, how you should be kicking as a place kicker. He just puts them over from all over. And then as some changes was made, you could see the All Blacks starting to bring up the changes, and it's like the game turned then. There was a chase down kick where Retallick eventually scored a try. Then the try started flowing, you know. Talia gets a ball away to Papali. He goes through for a really strong try. And suddenly you also start seeing the New Zealand scrums get really strong. They started demolishing Italy. Italy was so poor in the scrums. No real competition towards the end. They were just really, really demolishing them and having scrum over scrum and just getting penalties from those scrums. Then good to see from a line out, Kane gets a ball away to Coles. And good to see, you know, like the older guys, or the not veterans, but the older players in the team celebrating a try and really enjoying that. Odogu, another good player usually for Italy, comes on second half, very poor defense. They just outwitted him there. Oh boy, and then Mackenzie comes on. I'm so glad Mackenzie's back in the mix. Two guys, Fizell, Mackenzie, I can even say Jordie Barrett, all three of them being back in this team is huge. But Mackenzie's injection of pace second half, his distributing of the ball, this guy could easily start for the All Blacks and still be outstanding. I mean, he was phenomenal from the bench. And then the other two guys right to the game that played really well was Savia. Savia gets an offload away, an amazing offload to Jordan. Will Jordan was amazing the whole game. He goes through for another try. Dane Coles gets yet another try. He gets two tries. I mean, I don't think he expected that. Gets it back into Leonard Brown. Leonard Brown scores. There's a try that gets disallowed where Roy God, I felt, was a try because you still have to have a movement to score the try. They say it's a second movement. He doesn't get that try. But I mean, the All Blacks all over Italy. Italy not competing in the breakdowns. Poor at the scrums. Missing tackles. It was terrible from Italy, in my opinion, towards the second half. It was just all falling apart for them. Towards the end, getting very poor. And then suddenly, the game turns a bit for them. And I think Odogu getting a bit more into the game with Monty Ioane. Odogu gets a break and gets a pass away to Ioane, and Ioane goes through in the corner, which is kind of like a consolation try. Almost looked like he was out, but he did score the try. Halftime was 49-3. At the end of the game, we close out this game at 96-17. I mean, a really, really good win from the All Blacks. The only things that I would say, from a positive perspective, they're showing depth again in this team. They're using their bench correctly. Fizell, all over the balls. He's outstanding to back, and he's going to be very important as they go into those playoffs. Frizell really stands out on that field. Sevilla also outstanding. Guys like Roygaard coming into that back line. Mackenzie coming into that back line. They're injecting something new to that back line. This game really suited All Black type rugby. Opening up, running type game, that's what they like. From a positive perspective, definitely helping them a lot to gain confidence. You know, they were really, really good at their rolling maul defense and very, very good at their scrums. You know, that stood out. They were really decent at the jackling and turning balls around, especially first half. Second half, you could see they spread out. They weren't really competing as much in the breakdowns. Maybe something to look at. Things that I think that could still be questions is, for me, they're cleaning out in the rucks. I still don't, but it might just be, how do you gauge this game? You can't really gauge this game. But they weren't really cleaning out in the rucks for me. They weren't as competitive in the rucks. Look, the Italians wasn't doing much themselves, but they're definitely going to need to do that in bigger games, you know, clean out in their rucks. be committed to those breakdowns to clean out, because they're there to do the jackling, but I don't see the guys cleaning out, and that's because there was really no competition much at those breakdowns. So they might get challenged in that area, which they weren't challenged in this game. And the other thing, just exit out of your 22. I still think it's a thing with the All Blacks they got to watch out. They don't exit out of their 22s. They don't kick the ball away. They try and run it from everywhere. It was costly against France. I mean, they just got to be careful of that. And then the last thing I would say, guys, don't take anything away. This was an outstanding performance, and the All Blacks have just put their stamp down to say, we are here to play. So I'm not taking anything away. It's going to be a great quarters. But when you start thinking of those quarters, you think of, the Irish really being challenged by the Springboks at the breakdown and that kind of thing. The Scottish and Irish game is going to be mammoth. They really being like tested, where the All Blacks had this first game that they were tested. And I'm just a little bit concerned with these type of games that it's a little bit of it's great, it's confidence, but that it's not really challenging you where you need to be challenged to point out certain things to this All Black team. Now, they're going to go in with a lot of confidence, and what will be, but they really, really, for me, from a clean-out point of view in the rucks, they need to be there quicker for me. They're still lacking there a bit, but they got the players. Maybe it's just because they were playing the Italians, they didn't have to do that, but that might be the only thing, that they're not going to get challenged enough before this quarters by any teams to kind of just look at all those things and keep making sure they're ready for the big games. Because I'm telling you now, the Irish are very, very competitive at the breakdowns, and not just jackling, but cleaning the ball out. And if the All Blacks are going to be that tad too slow to clean out ball, they're going to lose a lot of balls. So that would be something they got to look at. The other thing is, clear out from your 22 and kick the ball out. For some reason, I don't know why the All Blacks are not kicking out. But otherwise, outstanding performance. Really, a lot of players, putting their hands up, and saying, look, we are here to play. So guys, just quickly looking at the stats of the game, we'll see territory-wise, the All Blacks on the left with 53%. The All Blacks playing from their own half and sometimes making mistakes, and then keeping the opposition teams in their territory, which I don't personally think is a good thing necessarily. Because, if you look at the scoreboard and you look at these statistics, the territory should be more for the All Blacks. And then also the possession, a lot of possession was given to the Italians. They just couldn't use it as well as what the All Blacks did. Then attack, you could see double as much meters carried. And the breaks, 132 versus 97. The Italians was also running at the All Blacks, but the All Blacks just too good. 97 versus 49 carries over the game line. Passes, similar, almost the same. There were a lot of passes in this game. And then defenders beaten, you can see 30 versus only 17. Rucks won, both competitive. Mauls won, All Blacks quite a bit more. They were strong on the Mauls. The Italians not so much. Kicks from hand, you see the All Blacks kicking more. Meters gained, more meters gained from the kicking. Kicks into touch, 11 versus 6. Still feel that the All Blacks are often not kicking those balls out. Set pieces won 83%, 5 out of 6. This is where the Italians really lost again. The scrums, 25%, only 2 out of 8, very poor. Lineouts, outstanding by the All Blacks. Their lineouts are looking really good at the moment. 15 out of 15, very poor again from the Italians, only 6 out of 11. Lineout steals, you see 3 stolen from the All Blacks. One place that the All Blacks will have to be a little bit careful of. It's better than their previous game against Namibia, but their discipline still on 7, and I think 4 of those were at the start of the second half, where they just kind of fell apart in their discipline for maybe 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and then it picked back up and they were good. And then defense, we see both having to make a lot of tackles. It just shows you Italy was coming at the All Blacks, 118 versus 123. But the big thing, tackles missed about double from Italy. Italy really tried. It's just the All Blacks, this is their type of game, man. If it opens up a bit and they're able to not be competed at the breakdowns, and they can get their ball back, recycle their ball back every time, and you give them the opportunities to start moving the ball around and run it, oh, you're always going to get punished. You're always going to get punished. Tackle success, we see the All Blacks on 80%, only 65% for the Italians. They were just never really in it towards the end. And then turnovers, one of the biggest things, especially that first half. I felt the All Blacks were so good over the ball to do those jackals. Only one won by Italy, but 6 by the All Blacks, and this was a big stat. What do I think of the total game? Well, definitely looking good. All Blacks putting down their stamp, making their statement, saying don't sleep on us, we're also here. But what I say is the big but is just to be careful that they don't move away too much from their structural play when it comes to the forwards cleaning over the ball and being very committed to the ball. Yes, the jackling is great when you got one guy over the ball, and if there's no challenge there, I understand. Why do you have to put more players into the rucks to clean out? But that might make you just start playing an incorrect way. When the big games come, you don't compete in those breakdowns, because I will repeat that the Irish will compete at those breakdowns. They'll be quick to the breakdowns. They'll be quick to clean out. And just a lot of players like a Frizzell and a Sevilla and these guys putting their hand up at the right time to say, a lot more forwards. You saw a lot more forward play and a lot more good performances by the forwards. Where before, the All Blacks in the last couple of games before the Namibia one, the forwards were struggling a bit. The backline was doing okay, but the forwards were struggling a bit. Just good to see the forwards find their form again. And the All Blacks have got a lot to build on. Still got one game left. If we quickly look at those pools before we close off this game. Look there now. France just have that 1-0 losses, so that keeps them at the top. But you see New Zealand with the points that they scored against Italy, actually with a better score aggregate. So putting themselves in a very good position. Bonus points are there, and great from them. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Please hit that subscribe button. I'll appear on your home screen. You can even ring the bell. Give me a thumbs up. But most important, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, there will be loads more of this to come out in the World Cup and moving forward. Well done to the All Blacks. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.